Namatu Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Zim, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. Hello everyone, today is Saturday 30th May 2020. This is Achan Sujan from Varapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. As usual, I am here with you all, and thank you everyone for listening from your home to me on this difficult time. And this is our 2 months now. We started from the beginning of the April, and now this is the end of May. So it's 2 months already here with you all. Some of the talks or the guided meditation I have posted on YouTube as well, so you can go and listen if you wish the previous talks and guided meditations. So hello Margaret, thank you for coming back again. Manish Thapa, Sukhi Honoho, Suresh from Nepal. I hope in Nepal, Suresh, you are keeping well and dealing with this lockdown. And I heard our government has deployed the army to keep control in Kathmandu and those affected area, like very close to you, Suresh. So yeah, this is our 2 months today, and since lockdown. So I've been giving these talks and a guidance meditation, hoping to be part of your difficult time staying at home. And I do understand that it's a human nature that when we have to stay in one place for a longer period of a time, our mind cannot adjust or cannot deal with the same environment or same place. Particularly, it's like the prison within our own house. And then whenever the possible ways or any chance for easing, then we tend to go out and wildly going away. And this has happened in Aberdeen as well. Yesterday there were hundreds of people in Aberdeen Beach, which also raised the concern about the spread in Aberdeen. This is the Buddha said that a untrained or untrained person or untrained people find difficult to stay in one place for a longer period of time, and there will be a fluctuation of the emotions, and that also can cause a trouble in the house with the family members and as well as with the so-called the governments. And there will be a time comes if we have to stay indoor, isolating or kind of imprisoning ourselves, and this lockdown is like imprisoning ourselves. And there will be a time that enough is enough. Doesn't matter if even I get the virus, I want to go out. And I believe that this is the situation, and this is the time that people have enough is enough, despite of this deadly virus, which has taken over 1 million people in America and almost 40,000 in the UK already, and it's spreading so rapidly. Although in the UK this lockdown eased, hoping that the NHS will able to cope with the number that are coming to the hospitals or positive results, but the infection is still there and still growing, in the same ratio. It's spreading as well, and with the easing of the lockdown, I worry that it may increase more again, or the second wave of this may arise. But again, this is I know it's hard, and many people, those who do not feel that it is the virus is affected, virus has affected their lives, or they haven't got it, they may have a feeling that enough is enough. Although I get the virus, I don't care, I want to go out from this a small place, of being in a small place. So it's like we in a way we are in prison already. There are so many things that we want to do, and we cannot do that, and we prison. And this lockdown is like a double prison. We are in a Dhamma, we are imprisoning ourselves by the worldly conditions, and with this we are imprisoning in the samsara, as a life, and reborn again and again. So this lockdown is another form of imprisoning ourselves in a hope not to get the virus and survival. So this also gives insight that how vulnerable we are, and how fragile our feelings, and how much we are afraid of death. So this is what we normally reflect on during the meditation, that our life is uncertain and death is certain, and our life ends in this life with the death, which we cannot deny. And whatever we do in this life or in this time, that defines where we will be, and how we will be in the next destination. So that's why this is what the Buddha's teachings is, that so-called marana dhammom hi maranang anatitoti. So we are subject to death, but we do not know, and we cannot overcome. We are not overcome by this death. So it's a nature to die, and we haven't overcome the death, so we have to accept it. But again, when time comes, or when these virus spread, and we have this sense of a fear, and the sense of wanting to leave, or wanting not to have the virus, so we will our life will be shortened in that way. But again, in this way, I have also spoke I think middle of the April last month about the 3 types of patients. And those 3 types of patients: one patient, despite of having good nourishment and good care, they will not survive. And there will be a person or people who will survive with the good nourishment and care, and there will be a people who do not need any nourishment or care. They will survive, and which we can see from the examples that we have heard. There are thousands of people also cured after they have visited, or after they were admitted to the hospitals, with having the good care from the NHS staffs, doctors and nurses, and with the good care and nourishment of a good care, this medicine, they were able to cure themselves and return safely back home. And there are many who got the positive results from this virus, but yet they didn't have to go to the hospitals. They simply had a good rest at home, and within isolation of that time, they were able to heal themselves and regain their health back. But in the same time, there are a number of significant number of people, those who got the virus, and despite of having a good care, a good nourishment, they are not surviving, and sadly they lost their lives. And again, there are misconception at the beginning that this is only for the elderly, but again, there are significant number of young, even a child passed away due to the coronavirus too. So that's why it's a very different that how and which way we will end our life, and whether we get it or not, it's up to us. And there are some beliefs going on in a Buddhist group, particularly those who are practicing Buddhists, that they confirm themselves mentally that they haven't done much bad things, and then they normally practice meditation and do the chantings regularly, purifying themselves, and this practice of a more kindness and compassionate heart. They believe that this won't the virus won't cause them or will be affecting them. And that's the misunderstanding as well. In my understanding, virus doesn't care which religion or which country are we from. This virus only knows the symptoms, or only knows where to grow, and at any time when the virus got a place, they will just spread rapidly without any concern of a religion or even the nations or nationality. So all what it needs is the body and this nature, that it just spreads in that body regardless of the what. So that's why it is it shouldn't be taking as the standard to see or to feel that we are safe because we are just a Buddhist and practicing kindness and good things. No, we all need to be mindful and vigilant and taking care and the possible ways, following the guidance to be away from it. Okay? And that's what we needed to be, and even in the past few weeks ago, I was reading, listening the news about some countries even said that they have invented the vaccines, and which believe that traditional medicines can help. And then I think it's not that we shouldn't believe in, but again, needs to be clear examination and testing should be gone before we take it into the consideration as the proper or the right one. Because when there was AIDS disease spread in Africa, in Africa there was a so-called vaccine, a traditional vaccine, said that they have discovered, and if they eat that vaccine or that traditional medicine, the AIDS will not cause them or will not affect or spread. But within a few months' time, it found that the AIDS patient rapidly grown up, and as a result, the WHO again had to intervene and introduce the new medicine like that. So that's the same with this coronavirus too. Before we jump into the conclusion that any virus or any vaccines invented by any countries, and it needs to be thorough examination taken place and well examined and tested with the patients until it really works. But again, all human beings are different to one another, genes are different to one another, and the immunity system is also different to one another. As a result, again, some people may need more vaccine than other people. So in line with that, all what we can do at the moment is to keep safe and vigilant and mindful of what we do and how we do, and using this valuable time that we have, or this life that we got, for the good things and better ways to deal with our life and spiritual growth and spiritual development. So this is what I wanted to share with you tonight. And also on top of that, I wanted to answer one of the questions came through the messenger. saying that this is from Australia. She simply messaged me saying that she was reading the Dhammapada, one of the scriptures in the Buddhist texts, which probably one of the best translated and worldwide used Buddhist text among the Buddhist texts, so-called Dhammapada, the path, the leading, the path to the Dhamma. And in that the scripture, it contains only short passages, or the gathas, so-called stanzas, and each stanza stands very firmly and very good for the daily reflection. So when she was writing to me saying that she read two initial the gathas, or the stanzas, and able to understood, but the third and the fourth gatha, or the stanzas, unable to understand. So I think I will speak on that little bit before we finished. So the gatha number 2 and third and fourth from that scripture simply says that he abused me, he ill-treated me, he got better of me, he stole my belongings. The enmity of those harboring such thoughts cannot be appeased. So that's the third stanza. So that's basically one who is harboring in their minds that he has abused me, or someone has abused me, or someone has ill-treated me, or someone has got better than me, or someone has taken my belongings. So this type of thoughts, if one harbors, then the enmity will not cease. So will generate more anger, and the more hatred generates to one another. And this is again in our day-to-day life, in a modern day we can see it quite a lot, not only in modern days, but it's very common to the every societies, that the abuse is always there for different reasons. In modern days, abuse is, let's say, at your work, if you are working in offices or any organizations, then there will be constant abuse going on, and that's simply sometimes due to the promotion, due to the wanting to be the main person, or get the credit for something that you have been doing or someone has been doing, like that. So different ways of abuse going on, and that not only that abuse, but also like ethnicity abuse and color abuse. That again this week, or since the last week, it's been a great issue in America about the color issue and abuse, and these things, and again that's also comes under the ill-treated. Someone may be treating us badly in different ways, and in those situations, when we are harboring their action and thinking that they are bullying us, or ill-treating us, or they got better than me, and this is again the second part is more of a jealousy, and jealousy or a kind of they have taken the worthy of others, ours. Suppose someone has promoted, whereas you should be promoted in that job, like that, and then again that generates the jealousy or hatred towards one another. So in these situations, Buddha was simply helping us to deal in those situations, that rather than harboring these thoughts that he has abused me, or he has or she has ill-treated me in different ways, but we simply take it as just one action from someone who hasn't understood the consequences of it. And with that, what we are doing is we are not generating any hatred or any enmity towards other person. And when we are not generating that, then basically we are calm and we ourselves peace. I remember a few years ago, one of the ladies who was attending one of my meditation sessions, and we were having a discussion going on, and her question was, she's working in one this clothing shopping market, and she was a good seller, and as a result, because of having a good customer relationship, she got a good reputation and credits. As a result, the other members, those who were working in that department for a longer period than her, try to abuse her in different ways, and sometimes ill-treating her in different ways. And in that case, what she should be doing, and at that time, my advice was that rather than taking those activities of theirs and then taking onto yourself, then just ignoring that, and then if that's increases a little bit more and that's really disturbing you, then you should be going to speak with the supervisor or the line manager. And then after you have spoken to the line manager or the supervisor, and still these abusive activities going on, or even this ill treatment is going on, and then what you need to do is take that person as like an emptiness, not he or she is not there at all. And this again, what I come across with that, their intention is to hurt you, their intention is to abuse you, their intention is to make you feel down, their intention is to make you feel like unworthy. But if you stand up and not taking those words in you, but rather sending loving kindness and generating the sense of how ignorant they are, then what happens is you're strong from inside out. And with that, when they are trying you to be angry, they're trying you to be upset, they're trying you to be unworthy, but it's turned into other way around, then they will be upset, they will be unhappy, and they will be feeling bad. So it's up to us how we want to choose and how we want to deal with that, okay, in those scenarios. So that's why whenever somebody is abusing you, or whenever somebody is trying to ill-treating you, or even making different forms of activities or signs to make you feel down, and those situations, you simply take them as emptiness, not worth to pay attention to, and not care about it at all, but you focus on your job without missing anything, and you're working with your full intention, and you have a full attention, and there is undivided attention that you have put in there. So with this, what happens is you're strong inside out, and with that, what happens is those who are trying to cause you trouble, they feel ashamed, they feel that they have no power over you. So that's the sutta, the stanza number 3. But the story, before ending, I want to tell the story, the original story from the scripture for this, that the Venerable Tissa, who was the relatives of the Buddha, he became a monk at his very old age. And after because he became a monk at a very old age, the story goes on saying that despite of become a monk for a short time, he accumulated quite wealth, kind of indulged himself in food and luxuries. And every day, after the lunch, he normally wear clothes neatly and then goes and sit down at the reception where monks, when the monks would come or anyone come to the monastery, they will see him for the first time. And because he was very old and he was wearing neatly these robes and sitting at the reception, whenever new monks arrives or even the senior monks arrives, he will just sit there and wait. And when the senior monks senior monks arrives, they thought that this monk who is sitting there must be very senior, so they pay respect. And then with that, when there is a friendly conversation goes on, this teacher normally stubborn and behave in a stubbornness and behave in like an ego that I am relatives of the Buddha, and you are in the Buddha's the monastery, you should be paying respect to me, sort of like that. And with this, the senior monks just told him off, saying that you just become a monk and you don't know all the etiquettes, all the duties and rules towards the senior monks. You haven't done that, so how dare you sit at the reception and not doing the proper jobs. And with that, he felt very sad and he cried and went to report to the Buddha. And after he reported to the Buddha, and Buddha had a conversation with him and then realized that he was the one who should be blamed. And in that moment, then the Buddha gave this teachings to these monks, saying that do not harbor whatever the Venerable Tissa has said or done to you. And that's how one who does not harbor any thought of this abused me, ill-treated me, or got better than me, or taken good things, taken my belongings, then they will not have any hatred harboring in their minds, but there will be a peace. So the harboring the hatred will never brings the peace, and that is the story behind of that particular stanza. So I hope that this helps you to understand and get insight into it. So this is I'm just elaborating from what was asked by a lady from Australia. So this is the story behind of it. So I end tonight's talk on this here, and we'll continue the chanting and meditation, which follows in a few minutes time. I invite you to join with us for the chanting and guided meditation at 7:30. Until then, stay safe and take care, and we'll see you soon. And those who are not continuing for the chanting and guided meditation, and good night, and see you tomorrow at 6:30 for the talk. And should you have any questions or anything you want to share, you may text me on the messenger. So do not I'm not saying that you cannot write in the comments, but sometimes I miss those comments. But if you want to direct to me for the questions or opinions, please write the messenger so I can see it quicker. So with this, may you be happy, peaceful, stay safe, take care, and may the Buddha bless you. Sadhu, sadhu. See you shortly. Thank you everyone listening, and we'll see you shortly for the chanting and meditation.